What's going on, everybody? It's Brian Trippe. Welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Live podcast, where we interview the very best real estate investors, entrepreneurs, and business leaders throughout the country. And today we have a little bit of a twist because we have a sports star. I'm wearing the shirt, Alabama, University of Alabama, former star, national champion of the 2009 team, current MMA fighter, Mr. Eryk Anders. How's it going today, Eryk?
Man, doing awesome. Yourself?
I'm doing great. First of all, I just want to kind of cut right to this. How are you doing? How are you feeling? I know you just fought 6 days ago. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
Feeling good, man. I came out of the fight, largely unscathed. Didn't win, but my face isn't all busted up. My hand isn't all busted up. So I guess that's a win in and of itself.
How good did it feel to get back out there amidst everything that obviously has been going on in the country and throughout the world? How good did it feel just to get back out there?
Man, it felt great, to go out there and compete. I've been training for a really long time for that fight. And, I really enjoy the competition aspect of it. So, it felt good to go out there and compete.
It's awesome. Well, guys, listen, we're going to sit here. I'm going to ask Eryk a lot about just leadership. He had the incredible privilege to play football underneath who most considered to be the greatest football coach of all time, Nick Saban. I want to ask you about that, Eryk. I want to ask you about successes you've had in your life. I want to ask you about some setbacks, some failures you've had in your life, and how we, as leaders, how we combat all that. But before we do all that, I hope you'll indulge me for just 60 seconds. I want to play a clip. Do you mind if I play a clip for you?
Let's do it.
I'm going to play a clip. And because, listen, I'm a 2004 graduate of the University of Alabama. I was there from 99 to 04. We didn't really win a whole lot. So the 09 team, the 2009 championship team where you were a senior, was just, for me personally, was very gratifying. I'm sure obviously it was gratifying for you, but to finally win something. And I want to play just a clip. It's about a 60-second clip of the single most important play in the national championship game in 2009 against the Texas Longhorns. So I just want to play this clip real quick, Eryk. It's 24-21. It's 24-21. We kind of blow a little bit of a lead. They come back on us. And this is the game right here. Eryk Anders comes around the end, forces the fumble. We get the ball on the 3-yard line, score a play later. Eryk, take me back to 11 years ago. Take me back to that moment. What do you remember most about not just that moment, but the team?
Man, that's just probably the most team unity that on any team that I've ever played on that we had on that team. It was just something special. And I think that the way the year before ended had a lot to do with that. We went undefeated, lost in the SEC championship game. No one really felt like playing in the, I guess it was the Sugar Bowl. We could have went to the national championship instead. Now we're playing the Sugar Bowl. So, I don't think there was a lot of people who weren't focused and just enjoying New Orleans and having a good time and whatnot. And we lost that game, quite embarrassing. And then, but it's probably the best thing that could have happened to the underclassmen because, from that day on, literally from that day on, man, everybody just, had each other's back. I think that everybody just had that bad taste in their mouth and wanted some, revenge, if you will, on Florida. And, the very next year, that 09 year, I lined up just the same, went undefeated, and played Florida again in the SEC championship, except this time, we beat them pretty convincingly. And actually got to play in the national championship game. And for me, it was, a little extra special because I'm from San Antonio, which is like 90 miles from Austin, Texas, where the University of Texas is at. And they didn't even give me a look. So, for me, it was kind of like, I'm going to show y'all what y'all missed out on kind of thing. So, probably the best game of my college career. I think I led the team in tackles for loss, pass breakups. Not led the team in pass breakups, but I had a pass breakup, forced fumble, sack. So I played a pretty good game.
Well, again, in my opinion, that was the most important play of the game. That saved the game, and obviously scored the next play and went on to win by, I think, 17. And just adulation from a lot of, Alabama fans. It's been a long time coming. For you personally, though, you kind of mentioned, the stats. You kind of rolled off the stats a little bit. But for you personally, coming there in '06, Shula obviously recruited you, a different regime. And then '07, I don't know how the team kind of responded. Maybe I'll ask you that, how the team responded to a new coaching staff. Saban was probably a little bit more disciplinarian, the process. And then just for that to culminate, the whole thing with that moment right there that we just played. Talk about that.
Well, yeah, when Saban first came, I think there was a lot of like rebellion on the team, especially from the upperclassmen, because I'm sure they had a close personal relationship with Shula, and I don't think anybody on the team was happy with the way they fired Shula. They kind of did it in the middle of the night. They didn't give Shula a chance to address the team or anything. It was just, hey guys, you guys don't have a coach. Or no, it was, hey guys, Joe Kynes is the head coach for right now. And everybody loved Joe, but I just don't think anybody appreciated how the university handled the firing of Mike Shula. And so when Saban came, I think all the seniors, didn't want to comply and kind of wanted to rebel a little bit. As a result, we went 6-6, and none of those seniors got drafted. Not one draft eligible player from Alabama got drafted that year. And so I think that was just kind of like an eye-opening experience to all the underclassmen. Be like, man, shape up or ship out, And then, Saban also, I think, does better than anybody else, is creates an atmosphere of competition. So every day you go to practice, like you're competing for your spot. It's not written in stone that just because you're a senior or because you started the game before or the year before that you're going to be the starter the next week. So, I think everybody wanted to keep their job, and the guy behind them, there's not much difference between that second string and first string guy. So, and everybody just kind of went out there and competed amongst themselves and within the position to put the best 11 guys out on the field at the same time.
Yeah. You mentioned Saban, and I, everything gets written about him and said about him. Something, he's the greatest coach of all time. Obviously, we're probably a little bit biased. We think that, but just talk about how just the culture changed, and how did it change? What was he doing specifically, from '06, you mentioned Shula, Joe Kynes, to '07, shape up, ship out kind of thing. And then '08, his second year, go undefeated in the regular season, third season to win it all. Just the culture change. What did he do differently?
He instilled a lot of discipline. A lot of the rules and stuff weren't getting enforced, like going to class and things like that. So he made all the players accountable to themselves and then to the team. And then nobody wants to mess up if the team is going to get in trouble. So, and then again, like I said, he created that atmosphere of competition, whereas when Shula was there, if you were a senior, you're probably going to play a lot, if not start, So I think people were getting a little comfortable, and not, maybe practicing as hard or training as hard because, I'm not hungry anymore. I'm starting and it's sewed up. So, why kill myself every day in practice kind of thing. So, he also took away a lot of the physical stuff at practice. Shula did. Like when Shula was there, man, we were doing like angle tackling drills, Oklahoma drills, and wonder why when Saturday comes around, everybody's all busted up and beat up. Saban, we did have like our physical days, like Tuesdays and Thursdays, or excuse me, Tuesday and Wednesday. We did some physical stuff, but just like inside run and team run and stuff like that. So like 8 plays, not a whole lot. And so Saturday, everybody's healthy, everybody's ready to go and whatnot. Man, it was night and day, between those two. And I think that, Saban did it the right way.
How much do you accredit Nick Saban specifically to the success that you're having right now in MMA?
Man, Saban's really good at articulating things. So where I was the guy who showed up every day, did what I was supposed to do. He kind of gave everything a name, like the process and the things that he talks about. So it makes it that much easier for you to show up and like, this is what I need to do to make it to here, kind of thing. He had us talking to sports therapists. He tailored his coaching style around each individual player that he thought that he was going to contribute. That he thought was going to contribute in a major way to the team. So, for example, maybe if he yells at one player, they're not going to play very well. But if he yells at another player, it may make him play better. So he finds out all these things and make all his players tick on a psychological level, then tailors his coaching style for that player to get the best out of each player. So, man, he spent a lot of money on the psychological part as well as the physical part to get ready to get players ready to play.
What would you say? Because I read about your background. Your mother was in the Air Force. Did you always have that kind of disciplinary kind of style which is probably what led to your success? Do you credit more of a Nick Saban or just the background itself? What do you credit your actual successes that you're having today to?
I'm the fifth out of six kids, so I'm pretty far down there on the totem pole. So to get noticed and things like that, you have to do a little bit more, work a little bit harder. Just I think on a subconscious level. So all my brothers were hard workers. My mom and my dad, they weren't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, make your bed, kind of thing or anything like that. But at the same time, they instilled a lot of discipline in us, like being on time where you're supposed to go, for an example. And I just think that, growing up in a highly competitive household, everybody played sports, everybody tried to outdo the other one. So it's just, I was just kind of born into it.
So you leave Alabama in 2009 or 2010, that fall or that spring, and kind of bounce around a little bit with some football stuff. But I guess it seems like about 2012, you find MMA or MMA finds you. Why? Why did you decide to go that route at that time?
Because I played a year of I got picked to do the free agent thing with Cleveland, got cut, went to Canada, got cut, played a season of arena football, and pretty much said if it's not the NFL, then I don't want to play. So came back to Alabama, was doing the 9-to-5 thing, working, had several different kinds of jobs, cleaning factories, cleaning apartments, working for Coca-Cola, the government, on the Arsenal up there in Huntsville, customer service rep. Long story short, man, I just got bored and unsatisfied. I truly believe that, people were made to be moving and sweat and work out, so I wasn't doing any of that. And, I just, found myself being in a bad mood and upset and angry all the time. And, that's not me as a person. So I just wanted to get in shape, get those feel good endorphins, moving again and hormones moving. And, man, I sparred one time with Walt Harris. And, that was it for me. I fell in love with the sport right then and there. I got beat up in the nicest way that you could possibly get beat up. And, just told myself that, this is what I want to do. And I'm an all or nothing guy. So once I made that decision, it was up at, 5 in the morning, train. So I have to go to work, shower, go to work, and then come home. And, until I got to the UFC.
Did you think you could make it that far? How far did you realistically think you could make it when you first started?
Man, I had no idea, because, I knew that I would be able to compete at a high level just because that's who I am as a person. And but I never really knew how good, the people in the UFC and fighters were really, so I just knew that I had to train really hard, train all the time, and eventually I'll make it.
Yeah. Obviously, this question is going to be different for everybody, but specifically to you, obviously, Eryk, what what do you think is an attribute or two or three that really lends itself to you seeing the success that you're having? Like, what is it about you specifically that allows you to be successful?
I think it's one of those intangible things that you can't really measure. Like there are people, when you do the combine, you talk about how fast somebody can run, how high they can jump, how explosive they are and things like that. But I really don't have a lot of those physical attributes. But I'm tougher than the other guy. I have more grit than the other guy, and I ain't going away easy. And sometimes when the matchup is close, like if the skill level is the same, what is it that separates, this guy from another? And I think that that's truly what separates me from a lot of the guys that I fight and compete against is, I'm not going away. You can't hit me hard enough. If I'm still conscious, then, I'm going to be in your face and keep it moving forward. And, a lot of guys ain't like that.
13-5 record. A couple of those have been some tough decisions. A couple of them have probably been decisions you probably felt should have gone the other way. What does it do to you internally? The decision comes the other way and it doesn't go your way. And just internally, how do you get back up from and mentally from a defeat?
Man, one of the things that I learned from Coach Saban, and probably the most important thing is he's got a 24-hour rule. Win, lose, or draw, celebrate for 24 hours, cry in your beer for 24 hours, but after 24 hours, get over it and get back to work kind of thing. And that's just kind of the mentality that I have. Like I said, win, lose, or draw, 24 hours to be pissed off or happy. And then, you got to get back to work because, the next fight's more important than the last one. So regardless of what happened in the last fight you got to keep it moving.
Yeah. And look, and respectfully, that sounds great. It sounds good. And I think in a big team atmosphere like a football team, there's probably a lot of motivation and help to be able to achieve that. But, what you're doing is, I'm not saying you don't have a team around you. I'm not saying you don't have support around you, but it's probably a lot more lonely of a sport than, say, football. Surely there's some things that kind of creep in. I could have done this. I could have done that. And like when those kinds of things start to creep into your mind, how do you maybe just not feel bad about yourself or not feel like you could have done something different?
Yeah, fighting is a lot like being a kicker. You hit that game winner, everybody loves you. You got 1,000 missed calls, 1,700 text messages, Facebook messages, Instagram, Twitter, all that blowing up. But if you lose, that phone is silent. It's dry. No one wants to talk to you. So I just gotta take it with a grain of salt. I just feel like we're going out there, we're competing, and there's gonna be a winner, there's gonna be a loser. So obviously I try really hard to be the winner, but it doesn't always work out like that. So it is what it is. I'm out there competing, and I knew what I signed up for, and it is what it is. You got to be bulletproof in this sport, because even in the win, people might, the internet's undefeated. So there's always going to be somebody, talking trash or saying this or that. So, it is what it is, I just keep it moving. After a loss, I try to stay off social media because, it really just kind of piss you off. You just sit there and read about how much you suck or what you could have done. And everybody's a coach, so.
Right.
It's all good.
Everyone thinks they know better than you, right?
Yeah. I just take it with a grain of salt because,
right.
It's usually the people who are saying stuff like that really wish that they could be in your position or had the courage to step in there and fight or to go train every day and do all the things that they see people do on TV.
Yeah, for sure. Do you know what's next for you? Do you know what's coming up next? It seemed like, look, I'm not a fighter by any means, but it seemed like you didn't take, like, it's not like you took a huge beating, like you can't get back out there quick. Do you know when you're going to fight again?
I don't, man. I think I need to take some time to, develop some more skills and get better and take, what didn't go right in the last fight and, make it a strength kind of thing. So really sharpen my tools and, just, get better. So I don't know, man. I say all that, and then they call my phone tomorrow and say, hey, we want you to fight next week. And I say yes, So I guess whenever they call and ask me to fight again, I'll fight.
Gotcha. Now, and then more of like a long-term, same question, but a little bit more long-term forward thinking. How much longer are you going to do the MMA thing? Is this something you're just going to do it until they stop calling you, or are you have like a certain thing that you want to achieve, or certain goals and aspirations that you want to achieve down the road?
Yeah, I still love it, and I think as long as I still love it, and I don't like show up to practice like, damn, I'd rather be back in the bed or, be at the beach or something. As long as my focus is solely on fighting and I still love it, then I'm gonna keep doing it. Whether it's for the UFC or, go somewhere else or, whatever the case may be. I'd like, to stay in the UFC as long as possible. But, I don't know. I'll keep going for as long as I love it.
I hear you, man. Well, Eryk, I can't thank you enough for coming on and sharing some of your experiences and helping. I think it's important. If your entrepreneurship is a lonely sport too, right? We're out there.
Absolutely.
We're out there on our own, and I think it's important to talk. I love the correlation with sports. I grew up a big sports fan, and I just it's so prevalent to entrepreneurship. It's every day. You're in isolation, and you're fighting for your life. So I appreciate you coming on and kind of sharing some of your experiences there. I appreciate that, man.
All right, my pleasure, brother. Anytime.